welcome to another guidance video for the A-Level Film Studies NEA coursework. Today we're looking at how to develop your basic story ideas into a full script outline. So you should by now have looked at a pretty wide selection of short films, including the films set by the exam board. Hopefully you'll have noticed some of the common things that short films tend to do in relation to the way that they tell their story. You might have noticed, for example, that short films often begin in the action with far less introduction and setup than a feature. Short films quite frequently end with a twist or an enigma. They usually have a single simple premise, idea or setting. And short films often have very few characters. Of course, all of these can be and often are broken, but it's important to know what the common rules are before you start breaking them. So, this week's work is focused on developing your story ideas into a full outline, and you can then use that to write your script. You're not writing your script just yet, we just want to get the story down. So before we start looking at screenplay format and how to actually write in that very specific style, you'll want to have a really strong idea on what happens in your story and whether it works as a short film idea. So in order to do that, we'll be looking at three main areas, which are character and conflict, writing a logline, and creating a set of story beats. Okay, character and conflict. So the heart of a story is a person trying to do something, but something or someone is stopping them. So it's a person trying to do something, but something or someone's stopping them. If you're able to identify who your character is and what it is they're trying to do, you will have the heart of your story. It is absolutely crucial for you to strongly define these following three things before you can progress. Your character, so that's your protagonist, who they are, perhaps their age, their occupation, their state of mind, maybe their relationship status is relevant in some way. It's difficult to say what things are relevant in any particular character because it would depend on their situation. You'll also need to know their intention. So what is it that they want? What are they trying to do? It could be a big world-changing thing or a very small and almost seemingly sort of inconsequential thing. But it must be hugely important to your character. They must feel like they need to do that or have it or whatever. So it's something that they are really trying to do. And finally, the obstacle or antagonist. Who or what is stopping them? What are the forces of opposition? So why can't your protagonist achieve their goal? And the stronger the force of antagonism, the better. So before you go any further, make sure that you know what those three things are. 2. Logline. You'll now be ready to write a logline. A logline is a very commonly used way for screenwriters to summarise their story in a single sentence. It can actually be a really powerful way of working out if your story works as well. So generally speaking, if you can't summarise your story into a logline, you haven't worked out the most important aspects of it yet, and you're probably not ready to write it just yet. So a logline then usually mentions the main character and what they need to do in the film, as well as what obstacle they need to overcome. So consider the following loglines for a couple of movies you should be pretty familiar with. Blade Runner. A retired and disillusioned detective must overcome his own prejudices and hunt down a team of renegade robots in order to escape the city with the woman he loves. Pan's Labyrinth. An imaginative young girl must complete a series of magical tasks and defeat her evil stepfather in order to protect her baby brother and find her place in a magical kingdom. So you can clearly see the protagonist, what it is they're trying to do, and what's stopping them in both of those loglines. So the next task, therefore, is to create a logline for your short film idea by using the following formula. First of all, say your character must overcome what obstacle it is in order to, and then give their intention. So look at the formula in the workbook that's provided, and it might take you a few drafts, but work on it and come up with your own logline, and that will be your sort of guiding principle for writing this short film script. Your character must overcome obstacle in order to intention. Story beats. It's possible to break any story down into a set of individual things that happen. Sometimes these are called plot points. This is, again, a very commonly used tool for screenwriters. By using this concept, you can plan out your story to make sure that you have a strong sort of route map of your whole story before you begin writing your actual screenplay. So this process will also help you to ensure that your story is neither too long or too short. You can see how this works by watching a short film I made a while back called Bubbling Under. You can watch that by following the attached link. So I advise you do that now. The story could be broken down into the following story beats. 1. Will lives with his ill girlfriend and needs a job. 2. He waits for a bus and is irritated by a teenager. 3. The teenager's eyes bleed and she disappears. 4. The interview begins normally. 5. The interviewer goes very strange when he starts seeing her with blood in her mouth. 6. Will apologises to his girlfriend for not getting the job. And 7. We see the truth of the situation, and she's dead. So that is the 7 story beats which make up that particular story. So now I want you to create 7 story beats for your story. These should be short, specific, individual parts which happen. If you struggle to do this, your story might need more to it. You might need to go back and think about your story idea. If you have too many moments, or those moments are too big, you probably need to streamline or simplify your story. So it'd probably take you a few tries to get this right, but that's absolutely fine and normal. Remember that writing is rewriting. The drafting process is where the story will really take shape. And if you get the story right, the rest will follow. It'll be so much easier. After all, as it is often said, you can make a bad film from a good script, but you can never make a good film from a bad script. So I will leave you to it. Happy writing, and I'll see you next time.